So in cross products, we are going to do cross multiplication when there's an equal sign in the middle. When it's just normal multiplication, you multiply straight through. All right? Equal sign, cross multiply, multiple multiplication, straight multiply. Some people make the mistake doing one for the other or the other for one. So just keep in mind those are different.
So if it's not equal, then we do like A times C and B, and then B times D.
Absolutely. You just multiply straight through, top with top, bottom with bottom. And the reason, you don't need to know this part, but I'm just explaining what's actually happening, is because it's basically I'm multiplying D on this side to cancel these out. And I'm multiplying B on this side to cancel these out. That's what's actually happening in your cross multiplication. You're just multiplying the denominator to both sides and make it a perfect.
Get the same answer if you whichever one you do.
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean? Whichever one you do.
Like if you do like the cross, like it's the cross multiply, or you do like the straight multiply, like you're gonna get the same thing. You just have to simplify if you do the straight multiply.
No, straight multiplication only occurs when it's multiplied in between the fractions, like on the right. Cross multiplication is what you use when it's equaled. So it's a fraction equals another fraction. So they're two different methods for two different scenarios. Okay. So let's just go through some quick examples of these. So we could cross multiply. That also means we can cross multiply whole expressions. And I'll color code it to keep track. For number one, we're going to cross multiply both sides. So I'm going to write it as 3 times x minus 4 equals 9x. Okay. From here, I'm going to use my typical algebra strategy. Let me distribute to get rid of the 3 or reduce the 3. So 3x minus 12 equals 9x. I'm going to move over the smaller x. The smaller x in this case is 3. So I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. So I'm left with negative 12 equals 6x. Then I'm going to divide it by 6 on both sides. Negative 2 equals x. And just like all our other algebra problems, you could technically always plug it in and see if it's true. 3 over negative 2 should equal 9 over negative 2 minus 4. On the right here, that reduces to 9 over negative 6. And 9 over negative 6 reduces to 3 over negative 2. That matches this, so this checks out. You don't have to check your work. But I'm showing you in algebra, you're allowed to check your work by just plugging it back into the original. Full screen, so I have a little bit more space. Okay, so write down number 2. We're going to do that.
If it's 1, isn't like the 9 and like minus 2 stay the same?
If it's for number 1, you ask?
No, for number 2, when you like multiply 1 times 9a minus 2, doesn't it like stay the same because it's 1?
Absolutely, because anything times 1 is itself. So when I cross multiply here, we might have referred to it in the butterfly method in the past. You have 8a equals 1 times 9a minus 2. But as someone already pointed out, you're multiplying by 1. Because you're multiplying by 1, you automatically know nothing will change. So you could just write it as 9a minus 2. But if you show parentheses 1 and distribute, you'll still be correct, but I'm saying that's inefficient. You're taking too many steps. All right, I have to be consistent. I always say I move the smaller x, or in this case, a over. 8a versus 9a. I'm going to move over the 8a. Now on the left, what that will leave over is 0, because there's nothing left on the left side. So you got to make sure you put 0 for that. Equals a minus 2. So I got to get a by itself. So plus 2 here, plus 2 here. Your answer is 2 equals a.
So if there's nothing on the left side, like if it's just like you divide or like what you did there, like what you minus 8a from both sides, so you just write it as 0.
Yeah, because 8 minus 8 is 0. That's
All
what
right, 'cause
happens.
I was confused on that. I'm like, wait, what am I supposed to put there? All right, I'm good now.
Fair enough, yeah. So you just leave it as 0. And that's an important lesson because when we get to something called quadratics, that's way later, 0 is a really important number for that. So we got to know it just becomes 0. Any other questions on this? Yeah.
Could we try one by ourselves?
Exactly. So you're going to try this one by yourself. It is not your exit ticket. So even if I say you have a good job, don't leave. Had that happen earlier today. It was awkward. This is not your exit ticket. So try this one out yourselves. I got to do it myself too. I don't have it anywhere. So. If you beat me to it, good on you. Remember, when you multiply with -3 and you distribute that, you got to distribute the negative with it. The answer is a fraction / decimal, so don't sweat if you got that.
I don't think I got it right because I didn't get a fraction. Like I just got like V.
You got, type in what you got.
When you do you subtract like the -4 from the -12 and add it, or like does it become 8?
Let's see. So I'm getting a lot of crazy answers here. So let's see. Let's just start off together the same way. You guys keep doing it. Keep sending me your answers. I'll check back who gets it right. I'll give you the praise.
Can you give us another minute, please?
I'm not sure.
I got like a regular answer.
That's interesting. Maybe I made a mistake. I was rushing. I didn't want to be beaten by my students. And a lot of people got the same type of answer. So maybe I'm the one who's wrong.
Wait, I got a fraction.
We'll see. We'll see. Give me a sec. So let me plug this in. So this is 2 times 2v plus 14 equals -3.
I got -5 over 2. I got 2.5, but I changed it into a fraction.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. I have one of those answers that I see matches mine.
Did I get it right, Mr. Vogel?
Because we got crazy answers. I got ones. I got 0.5.
I got 10.
0.75.
I got 1.
I got 1. I got 1.
I got 1.875. Everyone's going crazy. Let's see what we
Wait, Mr. Vogel, did I get it right?
Let's see. We're gonna all figure it out at the same time. So I'm gonna distribute this V over here. So 4V plus 28. Or I said distributed V. I'm distributing 2. So it's 4V plus 28. Can't forget that. what I'm gonna imagine most errors occur is right here. You're distributing a -3, so you should get a -12v minus 12.
Yeah, I got it right.
Okay, so you're so far so good.
Me too.
Everyone else, check your stuff because I got a lot of
I
crazy.
got it right. I did that.
I got that also so far.
Okay. Next
me
step.
No, I input it into V.
Next step is we're going to take it and move the smallest v. From the two v's, you have 4v and -12v. -12 is smaller than 4 because it's a negative number. So I'm going to do plus 12v on both sides.
Yeah, I got that.
I got
Okay.
that.
So now we should be at 16v plus 28 equals -12. So then we're going to do our two-step minus 28 on both sides. This
What
will
do you-
become a
Why don't you
bigger
do plus
negative.
12 sides?
Negative,
Oh.
right?
So
I
16.
did it the opposite way around. I took like
You
the-
Why
could
don't
do
you
it the
do
opposite
plus
way
12?
around. You will still get the right answer. I
Yeah,
always,
I got that also.
I got that also.
And then I
Okay.
divided it by 16 and I got like, and I turned it into a fraction. It said
I turned it
negative and then 5/2.
so your fraction is
Instead of
-5/2, which is the same thing if you reduce it, or it's the same thing
But I
as
said I got that. you didn't
-2.5,
know.
or it's the same thing as -2.5.
Okay.
So I'll look back. Let's see who really got it, okay? I'll compete.
I just
Let's
forgot,
see.
forgot like text you negative.
I said I got that and you said no.
Yeah.
I didn't say no to anybody. I don't think so.
Wait, did you
Mr.
say?
Toba, why
But
don't you
that's-
do
I don't
plus
think
12
that you
to
should
both
like,
sides?
eh.
I'm sorry then. I should
I
have been
forgot
good
to
myself.
text you negative, but I wrote 2.5.
Okay,
I didn't
Shake.
see the -3. If I did that, I probably would have gotten it right, but I didn't see that there was a -3 over there.
Yeah, you gotta pay attention to that. Shank, you had a question? I heard you talking.
Yeah, I did plus 12 to both sides. Why do you do minus 28 to both sides?
Because my V is now on the left, and it's only left, I want to move everything away from the V. So which one is actually next to the V, 28 or -12?
28.
So I want to move the 28 away. So I move it away by doing minus 28. You could technically bring over the 12 and then
If
move it
you
back
do
over.
12 minus 16, I mean like 28,
Okay.
then you get 16 equals 16v. I don't understand how. not the
It's
same.
-12.
But
so
still, you're
negative-
subtracting -12 from 28, but the bigger number is a positive.
If you're subtracting 28, that's a negative. So it's -12. Your -12 floors in the basement, then minus 28. So you're going deeper into the basement, into the earth. So you should be at -40 at that point. You didn't go up. You went down. So you got to go down. So it should be -40. All right. So if you got -2.5, be proud. If you got close, that's good. If you didn't get close, don't worry. We got a lot of time to practice. All right. So let's go on to our next section. 2.8, rewriting equations. Okay. Like I said, the previous section is short. It's just, you could practice like a billion of them, honestly. And it's going to always be the same situation. So that's why I'm just going to the next part. What time we got? Okay, we got time. So we're going to do 2.8, rewrite equations. Now, in these questions, they're going to be typically mostly variables. Sometimes there's numbers. But the key situation here, it's always going to ask you to solve for something. So for like number 1 here, P plus QX equals R, solve for X. So what does it mean to solve for X? That means I want to get X by itself. I want it to have, say, X equals blank. I don't know what that blank is until I solve it, but I want to get it so it says X equals blank. So I'm moving everything around to get X by itself.
Would you do like minus P?
Mr.
So
Toba,
I
did
would
get it
start off, I'm not sure, Jacob, I haven't done it yet.
Minus
I will start off because this is, my goal is to get this guy, x by himself, I'm gonna move everything away from itself as if they were just numbers. Because the only variable I care about is x. I'm moving everyone else away like they're just lowly numbers. So the first thing that somebody suggested was to subtract p on both sides. Now here's the problem though. R and p are different variables. So because they're different variables, I can't combine them.
You can do r minus p.
So all I could write is r minus p, exactly. You can't combine them though. You shouldn't have one term. It should be r minus p. It's okay, we don't know what r is. We don't know what p is. So we can't do anything to simplify that. Now we have q times x. Again, my goal is to get x by itself. So I'm going to divide by q. I'm going to divide by q. So your answer is x equals r minus p all over q. You have to remember, if you're dividing, you divide it with everyone. So you could just make one big fraction bar divided by q. So Jacob, yeah, you had it reverse. You see that now, I think. Okay. All right. Okay, so for number 2, again, we're trying to solve for a variable, in this case is y. Now we have actual numbers, a little bit more what we're used to, is still the same process though. And this type of question is going to be important when we start graphing lines, because what we're changing it into happens to be y equals mx plus b form, which should sound familiar. Maybe not familiar. It should sound like something you're going to remember for the rest of your life, essentially. All right. So we're trying to separate y. Y is my VIP. He's kicking everyone out of this house. So the first thing he does is he kicks out the people he's not closest to. And the person he's not closest to is negative 2x. So I'm moving the whole unit, negative 2x. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides.
Wait, why 2x?
We're trying to get y by itself. It says it right here, get y by itself. So because we're trying to get y by itself, we're separating everything from y. And usually we go from the farthest to the closest. Usually it's like the add and subtract happens first, then the multiply division. So what's being added to 3y is negative 2x. So we're going to remove that first. Same way in the previous problem, we would move, I think it was like negative 28 first, before we would divide by 16. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. Just should be an equal sign with that, Jacob. So you have to add 2x to both sides. So it's going to be 6 plus 2x. Remember, they're not like terms, so we can't do anything for it. We could do a little bit more simplification. Rachel, if I'm answering your part. So then we're going to divide by 3. I'm going to divide the whole thing by 3. Now, here's the thing though. It is 6 plus 2x divided by 3. I actually have numbers. Because I actually have numbers, I can actually simplify a little bit more. So I'm going to rewrite y equals 6 plus 2x over 3 as 2 separate fractions. Sorry that popped up like that. I'm going to write it as, let me hide the chat for a second. Y equals 6 over 3 plus 2x over 3. This 6 over 3 here, I can reduce down to 2. This 2 over 3, I can't simplify that. So I'm just going to keep it as 2x over 3.
Can you put the 2x over 3 into a decimal?
You could, but that's going to be a repeating 6. So that looks ugly. I'd rather you keep-
6.
I was only wondering that because that's what I got. So I was like,
Yeah, I mean, it looks ugly. I'd rather you keep it fraction. Yeah, I see. You just typed it in. I just saw it. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at chat at that moment. But I'd rather you keep it as 2 over 3. And actually, I want you to keep it 2 over 3 because that's really important when we start graphing and we're going to use it as our slope. So we don't want 0.666. We want 2 over 3. Okay. And you could have written it like this. And for future reference, I'm probably going to write it like this. 2x over 3 plus 2. Just put the x in front. You will get full credit if you wrote it one way or the other. But just for future reference, I'm going to write it like this every time. 2x over 3 plus 2. You'll see when we do graphing why I do it that way. That was a lot of stuff. Any questions?
Can you give us a problem to try by ourselves?
I have 2 problems and an exit ticket.
Wait,
Okay?
is like the final answer? Still like
final
2x
answer is-
over 3? Like it's still, you don't do anything with it?
No, because 2 over 3 is as simple as possible.
Okay.
So one of these 2 answers is fine. They're just reordered. Okay. I'm going to the next page. Anyone needs this? Does it seem like it? So over here, does anyone recognize this formula? A equals L times W? Okay, this formula is for the area of a rectangle. The area equals length times width. You don't need to know that. I'm just putting a little side fact there. But anyway, here is your formula. I'm solving for L. So it's L times W. Because it's L times W, I have to do the opposite of times W, which is divide by W. So as Rachel just said to me, you're going to divide by W. A over W is going to equal L. L is by itself at that moment, you're done. Remember, your goal is just to get whatever you're solving for by itself.
Wait, aren't they supposed to be lowercase though, like the variables?
A is a capital A because it's being particular to area. So it's because it's a real, or it's a, not real, it's a actual formula for something. They use a capital A. And number 4, I look at the first one. I don't know if anyone will know what this one is. Anyone wants to throw a guess?
You have to like distribute like P times 1 and then P times R.
You could distribute, but here's the thing. That's going to be more steps than necessary. What I'm going to do instead of taking the time to distribute P, because they're not real numbers, here P, if P was a real number, I would say distributing is a better idea. But because P is not a real number, what I rather do is this is P times 1 plus R. So I rather do the opposite of times P, which is divided by P and divided by P. So you end up having A over P equals 1 plus R. You don't need the parentheses anymore because you move the P already. So there's nothing multiplying to R or 1 plus R. From there, you're going to subtract 1 on both sides. It looks like it's going to the denominator. That's not accurate. It's a big one. So your final answer is A over P minus 1 equals R. You can,
What?
if you just, go ahead.
What happens to the P that like you divided by the 1 plus R?
That P gets canceled out with the other P.
Oh,
Well, Mr.
Yeah.
Why isn't like the minus 1 with the A? Shouldn't it be like A minus 1 over P?
No, because I divided the P first. And because I divided the P first, the P here disappeared. Like the P here absorbed it. So there's no P left over. So it's just A over P on the left. And this is 1 plus R.
Is this gonna be on the test?
Yes.
Because I distributed it.
Now, let's say if you distribute, I'll do that as if the alternate universe. I'll do that in blue. So let's say I distribute. So I have A equals P, because 1 times P is P, plus PR. All right, I'm going to subtract P on both sides. They're not like terms, so I can't combine them. A minus P equals PR. So then I'm going to divide by P, divide each one by P. So on the right side, on the right side, this cancels out, it's just R. On the left side, A over P cannot simplify, so that stays A over P. But what is P over P?
1. P.
1, good job. So I could change this into 1. And look, it matches what I got over there. So even if you distribute, just like the fraction thing, even if you distribute the fraction, you still will get the right answer. Okay. Any more questions on this one?
No.
Okay. I'm going to move to the next page where I'll just pick one from the book for you guys for your exit ticket. I'll just make one up. Let's see. 4x minus 2y equals 10. Yeah. Solve for y. So if you're solving for y, you're trying to get y by itself. Remember, it's a minus 2y, so you're going to be dealing with a negative 2 somewhere along the lines. Whether you're adding it, subtracting it, multiplying, dividing that negative 2, I don't know what you're doing, or I know what you're doing, but I'm not telling you what you're doing. What is it going to look like? You could simplify that, Rachel. So make sure you simplify it as best as possible. Shuri, you have to remember you're dividing by that number, but the y stays left over. So the y should be by itself at y equals and whatever you have on the right. Also, you're distributing with a real number, or you're dividing by a real number. So you want to do it for each individual one to see if you can simplify it. You guys will have homework. I'll post it after this class, okay? It'll be on Google Classroom. I'll also post the textbook pages. Daniel, you should have an X somewhere in your answer. Yael, you're almost there. You have to divide by something and make sure you simplify.
Mr. Chobel, I meant to like what I gave you, I meant to like put instead of y, x.
Just retype it then, I'm not sure. So then, Yael, as I said, you got to keep going. Sharil, what happened to X? It can't just disappear like that. Rachel, you're missing one small thing. You have to figure out, oh wait, no, I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
I said that like
You got it right, Rachel. I'm sorry. Rachel is the first.
I don't get what to do after.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I messed up and then I put a y instead of an x, but I meant
Wait, do I divide the 10 by the 2y or do I divide the 10 by?
I would divide 10 by the negative 2.
Can you check mine? I fixed it.
Brielle, something's up. Did you forget something about when you divided? Kira, you can't have two equal signs. Jacob, you have to simplify more. You're almost there finishing simplifying. Sherelle, where's the Y? Tara, you got it. You're free to go. Gabby, so you have it. I would divide by -2 at that point. Sheva, you might have forgot that you divided by -2, so fix that. Kira, you could simplify the 4x over 2. Layla, you're good to go.
Right.
Yael, where happened to the 10 now?
I'm stuck on this.
I put the Y. Can I go?
So like, I'm pretty sure I got it right. Yeah.
Noah,
I
you're
put the
good.
Y.
Kira, you have to simplify the 4x over 2. Daniel, you could just make that a whole number, Daniel. You don't need to be over 1. Craig, simplify that. What are you doing, Craig? Riel,
I
something.
don't get what to
negative?
do. I don't get what to do after you get -2y equals 10 minus 4.
Sheva, something happened to your negative. Jacob, double negative should become what?
I gave you another. Okay, I put the Y now. Is it good?
Can you do it on the board, please?
Kira, I feel like
Yeah,
you're going
can you-
farther from the correct answer. I'm just gonna do it. Daniel, you're a little off. Jacob, where's your X?
You
I'm
Am I
didn't, check,
good?
you didn't check mine,
Am I good?
Mr. Tobo.
Just wait till I finish and I'll say you're good. So we're gonna move everything away from the Y. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 4x on both sides. So I'm gonna have -2y equals
So I put the X. Can I
10
go?
minus 4x. You're just gonna have to wait. Divided by -2 from everything. So y, 10 divided by -2, that's a -5. -4 divided by -2 is a positive 2x. This should be your answer.
Mr. Well, you have a good day.
Yeah, have a good day. Just type in and answer that answer
Is
if
it-
you haven't already,
Wait.
and then you're free to go afterwards. You don't need me to confirm, okay? So make sure you type it in, all right? Because that's how I take the attendance.
Oh, this one.
So once you type it in, you're free to go. Just type it in correctly, though. I will ask that. Thank you, Gal. Thank you, Shava. Thank you, Kira. Daniel, how you have 2+ signs. Gabby, good. Don't forget the equals y when you actually write the answer. That's really important. Okay,
I know,
Gabby?
but I got lazy
Yeah.
there.
Michael, Yarden, Gallet, Craig, you guys.
Thank you.
Wait, Craig? Yeah, you good. Man. Sorry. Brielle, Craig, you're good. Brielle, you're good. Have a wonderful day, guys.